Loved this. I mean, it was a lot to watch. I can't imagine what it was like to film, but I
Yeah,
did.
it's
So,
fairly intense, but that's why we like it.
yeah, I mean, I'm curious when you read this script, like the first time, what was your emotional reaction to it? Like when you read something that is so visceral and intense, was that very apparent on the page?
I mean, when I first read it, I was like, well, this is unrealistic. Nobody could ever cut 30 pounds in a week. And then I was talking to the director, and he was like, no, this is actually, it's on the extreme end, but this is what people do. Like, this happens in this world. And I was like, you can't, like, you guys can't be serious. And then I started doing research, and you realize actually, this is not unheard of. I mean, 30 might be at the very limit, but this is in the sort of mid to high 20s is what happens. And I just sort of loved that it was like a boxing movie with no boxing, but that it showed it's really, I mean, to me, it's more of a psychological sort of thriller or drama, that it's about somebody's struggle with mental health and sort of their inability to sort of grow and to leave addiction in a way, or these things behind. And I just thought that that was really interesting, and I thought that the relationship between Boxer and Caitlin was really interesting, and where they're at and how two damaged people can sort of help and hinder each other, and sort of what that struggle can look like when people are together who come from such damage.
One of my favorite TV shows was about fighting, and it leaned a little more MMA than boxing, but it still went pretty deep into that behind the scenes struggle and the challenge of making weight, although nowhere near as extreme as this. And I know you said that you've always been a fan of sports films, but what was the first sports film that made an impression on you? What are the kind, are you like someone who likes the more uplifting one?
Oh, I mean, where do we like Field of Dreams? Then what was that one? The one I used to love, the Charlie Sheen one where he was a baseball. What is that?
Major League?
No, not Major League.
Oh, he
It's
did.
ah, I can't remember. Wild Thing, is it?
I'll look
This,
it up to make sure.
anyway, I love all of them. I mean, I think there's something about sports films that whether or not you like, because I knew nothing about baseball. I mean, Major League was also a great film that I loved growing up. But even if you don't know anything about the sport, or it just, you get all of the sort of intensity, or the sort of breadth of what it is to be human, right? What it is to like really desire something, the struggle, the kind of digging deep, you the sort of lens to which humanity or human can push themselves, like all of that stuff. I just love it. I think, it just gives you so much. I don't know.
What did the decision to take boxing lessons and working with a coach yourself teach you that you hadn't been aware of or hadn't expected? Does it give you a new appreciation for the sport to do the sport?
100%. I mean, I grew up when I was a kid. Barry McGuigan was a huge, like, local hero, as well as being an Irish hero, and such a legend in the world of boxing. So I sort of grew up watching boxing at home. Like, my dad was really into it, so it would be on TV and stuff. But I'd never boxed. In fact, I'd gone to one cycle box class in Glasgow about, you know 8 years ago, and I remember I couldn't stop laughing, because just the sort of weirdness of like trying to punch somebody or somebody punching you was just, I just couldn't stop laughing at it. And so I wanted to feel what it was like to sort of have that body, and to sort of have that physicality, or what it felt like. And I started working with this coach, Ruth Raper, and I got so into it. Like, I still work out with her, I still box train with her. I found out that I'm actually quite aggressive in the ring, which was, shocking. But what I didn't realize is just the mental focus that's needed. It's not just about brute force. It's not about your body strength. It's like that mental focus to stay so alert. And whether it's, obviously I wasn't punching anybody, but even when you have your coach like calling out different
Oh.
sequences and stuff, and you just have to be so sharp, and it's like you can't think of anything else. It's honestly, it's one of my favorite workouts because you just everything else gets left behind and you're just mental and physical focus for as long as you're doing it.
I love that we do get that moment in the beginning between you and Boxer where you're training him and you're sort of sparring in the ring together. What was that like? Was that fun to shoot, or does it get like really difficult after you're doing it for like however many takes you have to do that for?
No, it was so fun. I mean, poor Orlando, he had so much like physical stuff to do in
Yeah.
terms of working out and everything. So I just had that. But it was funny because we had Sean had given us a sequence that he wanted us to do sort of early on. And we had met at a gym to sort of practice it. It was about a month before we started filming because we weren't going to see each other, Orlando and I, for a couple of weeks because he was away and I was doing stuff. And so we had this sequence and we were practicing it, and I'd been practicing it with my coach and we were doing it. And then behind us, there were these two like real boxers who were doing this like way advanced sequence, and it was like super fast, and Sean's like, no, that's what I want. And so all of a sudden he was like, he filmed it and sent it to us. He was like, we want you to do that. And so that was the bit where it's over the head and under the arm and all of that kind of stuff. So then I was like, oh, we have to do that. But it was so fun, I loved that. I think we originally had more of it, but you can't fit everything into the film, and the sort of story goes where it goes. So, but it was really fun.
Yeah, I love that we also have that small moment in the beginning in the gym with you training the young girl. I feel like that sort of shows a balance between who your character is. What was that moment like to have and to get to shoot that with her? She was so cute.
She was so cute. She actually, I think that's Mark Lane's daughter, one of our producers. It was awesome. We had a day in the gym where all these kids came in and we were like just going through these different like sequences with them. And Sean, our director, he boxes as well. So like I think everybody was just like really excited, and all these kids were so into it. And I think for me as well, it sort of gives you this feeling of, because I always thought Caitlin, if she had been taken more seriously by her father and sort of hadn't been sort of treated like a girl, and she'd grown up sort of more in this time, she would have probably avoided a lot of the pitfalls that she sort of ended up going through in her life. And so when you see these young kids, you were just like, wow, like it's such a precious time. Like these kids need to be, I just thought it was like a lovely kind of full circle sort of moment for Caitlin.
There gets to be a point in this where Caitlin knows that Boxer shouldn't be putting himself through, but he's putting himself through. And she also knows that telling him to stop isn't going to get him to stop. She's the one that kind of has to make the decision herself to walk away or not. What was it like to shoot that moment when she really tells him he has to stop or she has to go?
I mean, it's heartbreaking for those characters. I think, where Orlando and I talked a lot about sort of where they meet as characters, and it's sort of in their damage. And, Caitlin's recovering, Boxer's not, he's somebody who's been managing, not really in recovery necessarily. But Caitlin makes some bad decisions. I mean, she fully enables him for the beginning, and probably she should have said no much earlier on, but she loves him so much, and she sort of sees he needs this, or it's something he wants so badly. And when you see somebody that you love want something, of course, your first instinct is to try and give it to them. But I think she knows that if she stays, she's going to be dragged down as well. And I think for her, she's gone through so much that ultimately it was self-preservation to have to leave. And I think she knows that the only person who can save Boxer at this point is himself. So yeah, she has to walk away. But at that point, Orlando and I had been shooting quite a few days together, and we'd found this really lovely sort of natural rhythm with each other. And yeah, it was just, those were lovely scenes to film.
So, have you fully processed your feelings around closing the book on Outlander yet? Like, I can't imagine just the level or the wave or the roller coaster of emotions that come with saying goodbye to something you've done for so long.
It's funny because sometimes you think you have, and then you realize there's a whole other layer to it, you know? Um, I mean, it's going to be, it's always like, it's been such a huge part of my life. And, um, I think it'll always be a part of my life. It'll always be so sort of part of me and part of my story and part of my journey. And, um, I think I'm excited that I'm doing other stuff, and like, it's nice to be on other projects, and I'm filming something at the moment. And, the other day I was walking down and somebody was like, Cat, and they turned around. It was like one of the guys who used to be our locations manager on Outlander, and he's on this job. And then there was one of the guys who works with the horses on this job, used to be on Outlander. And so it's this lovely thing that sort of, it'll always have tentacles in my world no matter what. So it never feels like it's completely gone, which I think is
Yeah.
nice. But it's weird that we still haven't aired the last season,
Yeah.
because I filmed it a year ago, and it sort of feels like that's going to be the sort of next step, because that'll be the real goodbye.
I was also thrilled to see that you're doing Sense and Sensibility, because I love the Ang Lee film with Emma Thompson and Kate Winslet. What did you love about the adaptation that you're doing? It sounds like it's also going to have a great cast.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the script is beautiful, really gorgeous. And then our director, Georgia Oakley, is this incredible director. She did this beautiful film. Her first feature was a film called Blue Jean. So I was excited to work with her. But I think these classics, when you realize that the Ang Lee film, which I love so much, was 30 years ago, it's I think these classics have a very new resonance for every new generation. And I think George's interpretation is going to sort of reflect, I guess, sort of this generation's sort of viewpoint on it, maybe. Daisy is incredible, and Esme, and then Bodhi. I have the most three beautiful. It's funny, because as the mom, I have these three daughters in it, and it's just been such a gorgeous experience so far. We're still in the middle of filming, and all of the cast. I mean, it's such a gorgeous, gorgeous cast, and it's just been such a beautiful experience. I'm really excited for everyone to see it when it comes out.
When it came to the ending of the cut, how do you think Caitlin felt about everything? Like in that moment when she's standing there mopping the floor and crying, I mean, what do you think she was feeling? Do you think that she even wants to see this guy again after everything he put her through?
I mean, he's her lobster. um, I think she knows that this is the beginning of a journey. Like, I think that where Boxer felt like this end point, this fight was going to give him what he needed, I think Caitlin understands that this is just the beginning of his journey to real recovery and to really becoming a healthy person. So I think that's why you see her so upset isn't quite the right word. I mean, she's full of compassion for him. And I think what she feels is like, oh, he thinks this is going to answer everything. Because I think she's been at that point, in a very different way. She's been at that point in her life where she's thought that there's things that will feed her or heal that hole within her. But she knows actually it's not one thing. One thing is never going to cure you or heal you.
Yeah, I'm surprised she wasn't just like, I'm going to block your phone number from my phone. Don't call me.
No, I think there's, they're sort of two disgusting peas in the same pod. Like, they just love each other.
Thank you so much for talking to me about it. It is quite a relationship story to watch the whole journey you guys take in the film. It was I felt like I needed to hug a puppy when I was finished.
I hope there was one there. Thank you so much, Christina.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.